Sir, I want to start by thanking George Adam, Joe Fitzpatrick and Emma Roddick for their contribution to government. It was a privilege to work with them through the Butte House Agreement, and they're all champions of a fairer, more equal Scotland. Presiding Officer, the Act which established this Parliament gives the First Minister the responsibility of nominating those he wishes to serve as Scottish ministers. It gives Parliament the responsibility to decide on the suitability of those candidates. John Swinney knows the esteem that I hold him in, but today he is asking me and other members of this Parliament who are LGBT to appoint to the second highest office in this country an individual who believes it was wrong that Parliament granted us the same legal rights as everyone else 10 years ago. I cannot, the Scottish Greens cannot, support the appointment of someone who fundamentally does not believe that everyone in Scotland is equal, worthy of equal rights and respect under the law. We cannot support the appointment of someone who believes not only that equal marriage is wrong, but also children being born outside of marriage. So we will oppose the appointment of Kate Forbes for Deputy First Minister. I am a man of deep Christian faith, but I do not hold the same views as Kate has set out. That statement certainly applies to me, but it wasn't me who said it. It was John Swinney. Last year, the now First Minister said that Kate Forbes was entitled to her views, but that others are entitled to decide if someone who holds those views would be an appropriate individual to be First Minister. As Mr Swinney said then, this is not about whether a person holds to a particular faith. My belief in the good news brought by Jesus Christ is something I share with Mr Swinney and Ms Forbes, and in that we share something far more important than party affiliation or political ideology. Faith is not the issue here. The issue is that I am being asked to vote for someone who thinks there is something wrong with me. Not because of any views I hold, but simply because of who I am. I will not do that, and the Scottish Greens will not do that. Yesterday, Kate Forbes was given the opportunity to reassure LGBT people in a question asked by ITV News. She did not. The First Minister had to step in just to say the word LGBT. This month we celebrate 25 years of this Parliament. There is much to celebrate, especially in all the ways in which Scotland has become a more equal place as a result of devolution. But in the last few years, it feels for the first time like we are going backwards. Scotland is in many ways a harder place to be LGBT today than it was 5 years ago. My lapel pin was given to me by the Time for Inclusive Education campaign. Their work delivered LGBTQ inclusive education in our schools, and it's a sad reflection of where Scottish politics is now that if the TIE campaign were launched today rather than a decade ago, I do not think it would succeed. The existence of LGBTQ people, especially queer young people, has been called into question in a way many of us hoped was consigned to history. First Minister, many LGBTQ Scots are afraid today. I know that's not your intention, and it's certainly not the intention of Kate Forbes, but it is the reality. It was the reality before Kate Forbes' nomination for Deputy First Minister. But the First Minister must acknowledge that this nomination has heightened that fear. And if he doesn't wish to hear it from me, he could listen to the many LGBTQ members of the Scottish National Party who expressed their fear and alarm yesterday. Before I close, Presiding Officer, I want to address those who have highlighted that the Scottish Greens have worked with Kate Forbes previously. That's true. There are issues that we progressed together that I am proud of, like the agreement to begin trials of a 4-day working week in the public sector. That was all before the SNP leadership election last year, in which these deeply hurtful positions were made known. It would have been wrong to presume Kate Forbes' views simply because the church she is a member of. Ian Blackford is a fine example of a free church member and an elected representative who played a key role in advancing equal marriage rights across these islands. He also supported John Swinney last year when he questioned Ms Forbes' suitability for high office. There is not a credible argument for someone being an unsuitable First Minister, but a perfectly suitable Deputy. I know that John Swinney considers me and all LGBT members of this Parliament to be equal. I know that he shares in the joy felt by every LGBT person in Scotland who has used the marriage right that this Parliament gave them, including members of this Parliament. But today the First Minister is asking us to appoint as his Deputy someone who does not share in that joy, who does not think we are deserving of equality under the law, who thinks there is something wrong with us. I cannot, the Scottish Greens cannot do that, but I want to hear him tell me why I should.